Welcome everybody to the WBC Podcast, episode 2. We're going around the table. We got expert opinions combined with expert entertainment and definitely some interesting conversation. So welcome to the family. Appreciate y'all being here.
I got a question for you, IG.
Yeah.
Because there's like to me, like with all of us and like a lot of these topics, there's so many moving parts to it that it's heavy. Yeah. You know, there's a lot of moving parts. So if I was to isolate just one area of something that I personally think that is it's like, to me, it's the way that like the right way, but like it ain't the popular thing per se because everybody don't do it, and that's like eating habits.
Yeah, man,
right.
So the nail on the head.
So what I'm asking, so my question to you is this: is like kind of going on, like just using eating habits as just one small piece of like this big puzzle of life, right? Right. What was the thing that made you change? Like what was, because remember how you just said, was it a traumatic situation? Was it a, like, yep. What was it that, because you didn't always eat the way you eat, right?
Correct.
Right.
So
no, we used to be getting carne asada fries at 2:00 in the morning.
Man,
after the club.
Right. That spot by PSU. What was that little bar spot?
The tortoise. The tortoise. The wing.
Tortoise.
The wings.
Man. The breakfast the breakfast deal they had.
Man, I remember my man Chuck Teasy used to come through with them wings, boy.
Man. Nah, that was all the time.
Yeah, the tortoise, that was my my spot. But to answer your question, Earl, like I'm gonna answer it, but I'm gonna kind of give some context. There was obviously a lead up, right?
There's a traumatic
to different experiences. Man, I remember I was in the gym one day down here hooping in some open run, and it was this big dude, man. He was sprinting the floor like a deer. He was older than me at the time. I was like,
got a visual,
like 30. I felt like when I first observed him, he was at least maybe like 40, maybe 10 years older than me. But he had an exceptional motor.
Right.
After that game, they came over to me and asked me, man, you know how old this dude is? And I was like 35, 40. Like, nope. This dude was 60 years old. But he looked almost as young as me and had my kind of motor. So I was like, whoa. And he was like, man, I've been vegan for, pretty much his whole entire life. But the moment, like, it was
get your attention.
Like, but the moment that changed me was Mother's Day weekend, 2012 in Las Vegas. I was at a coach's clinic, Nike coach's clinic, and came back into the room after being out all day. And when you sit down and start flipping through channels, and I caught this episode caught my attention. It was some documentary about food. To this day, I still don't know. I've been trying to find that documentary.
What was it called?
But this documentary touched on some aspects that I never thought about or considered. I heard things and you kind of just like keep them in the back of your head or whatever. But this thing basically, it talked about.
Was it a black dude?
It talked about the spiritual aspect.
Was it a black dude that made it?
Man, I don't know. Just let me finish though, please. It talked about the spiritual aspect, the connection of consuming flesh, dead flesh, the karmic aspect of when any soul or being dies. Okay. One thing we know is that the toxin is secreted in the flesh upon death, especially if it's a horrific type of death. But that comes with a spiritual connotation that we consume, which causes us to be reactive, and it just ain't good on the spiritual tip. It talked about the pollution of wasting resources. The water that it takes to feed the livestock, the water that it takes to grow the plant to feed the livestock, the trees that had to be cut in order to have land for them to graze, shit like this. And then their byproduct, which is methane, is even more toxic than any CO2, you know what I'm saying, ever. So it was like on all of these levels it was talking and touching on the spiritual aspect, and the fact that I still have an association to the demise of the earth through my purchase and consumption of meat made me actually get my butt up and look in the mirror and ask, where do I stand? Because I knew within myself, I consider myself a steward of the earth. I consider myself a lover of animals, and I consider myself a spiritual being. And when I realized I deteriorate my spirit through the consumption of flesh, when I realized that I have a hand in killing the earth, but I could go and be a part of any charity, any event, any organization that says they about saving this and doing good, I am not in alignment, and I'm a walking contradiction. And so in order to be in true alignment with yourself and whatever is that you believe, you have your behaviors, your attitude, and your energies have to be in line with that, with what you think and feel. And so from that day, I was like, well, shit, man, I think the choice is obvious. I think I'm done. And I walked down into the lobby. I still hadn't eaten. And when I walked down into the lobby, everything looked different to me. It was like putting on some glasses or taking off some glasses and seeing something in a totally different light, how all the lights just jump in the track, try to grab your attention, utilizing the color spectrum of your chakras, okay, the life spectrum of energy in this realm, and they utilize it and flip it on us because they understand the shit more than we do. And when I saw that, and I went down the road, and I'm like, oh no, that's not got the Subway. Subway is quoted and touted and marketed as eating fresh and healthy. It is the farthest thing from it. And we know even by fast food standards, it's not even close. Like, but let alone regardless of what they mark it up. So when that day forward, I mean, I went back home and I made it a mission for me to, I knew at that point I had to learn food. I had to learn vitamin and minerals and nutrition. I had to do some fucking studying, and I had to learn how to cook because, you know, Haas know and Daniel know, man, I don't do too much cooking. I'm eating out all the time, or I'm having someone come through and hook it up for your boy or for us or whatever. But it was the thing that motivated me to become more self-sustaining and expediting my knowledge in all these areas, and learning myself. You know, if you're an electric being, you give yourself electric food, living food. You don't give yourself dead food. It's just it, you know what I'm saying? The principle of understanding of that makes 100% sense to me. And when I look at the landscape and I see the nation dealing with all of this disease, all of this suffering,
Absolutely.
man, growing up, the kids was getting fatter. Yeah, as a teacher, you see it. The classroom is the micro of the world.
In the Black community.
And you see these issues, and they all stem from diet. Every last function of human function stems from diet. Every last one of them. So when you were saying the diet is probably the number one thing that you could do to start with to have the most immediate effect and change, I totally agree, because the diet affects your thinking. You know what I'm saying?
Man,
it makes you less reactive.
Your emotion, yeah.
It does so many things, and then it shows the respect. You now automatically put yourself in alignment with the universe and show you whatever you say, what you do is what matter. And now the universe knows that I respect and I'm one with it because I have disassociated myself from the attachment of that which causes it harm. You
Let me
see,
ask you something.
and on that level, just like how they try to connect you in law. Oh, you was with dude. I didn't do it, but you guilty by association. Oh, you saw the shit, but you didn't say nothing, but you still guilty as the person that did it because you didn't say nothing. Okay. We all run around. I was like this. I love this. I love the earth. I love animals, but I would never kill no fucking animal. But I didn't realize I was paying old boy to do the shit for me. So I'm still guilty. I'm still on the hook, regardless of what I feel or say or do or not. So then that led to the ancestral digging, the knowledge, the background. And when I got into Egyptian Kemetic spirituality, when I started studying my people, where I come from, and stopped listening to the shit that they detail for us over here was made for them by them, I realized that my people understood the universe way vaster than they do at this point. Without the technology, I understood that my people was in balance with the universe. I understood that my people weren't meat consumers. That was huge. Now, I'm not saying all the like you.
And when you say your people, who is your people?
When I'm talking about ancestrally speaking in general, like the Kemetic spirituality from where we come from, melanated beings originate from and disperse around this planet.
Africa.
You know what I'm talking about, IG?
So when I found that out,
you see what I'm saying?
It was so powerful.
Huge.
And understanding the symbolism that we use, that I see being used today, that's been flipped, that's been reversed and upside down and turned around, and people don't understand, and they scared of certain symbolisms and things that have been demonized. It's funny, but they use the shit against us. I think I put something in that text in regards to reading and understanding symbolism through the pictures. When I was talking about the Christmas shit. Okay, but we talk about the Eye of Horus. We talk about all these things, like those things they say that's craziness. Man, that's craziness because they don't want you to get illuminated. Because the moment you get illuminated, you're a damn threat. You a problem. And you touch other people and illuminate them, it is a problem. We can't control y'all no more. And Haas should know, because remember that one day, very first day, when we was going to practice, and I was like, man, we was coming late, and I remember we ran. He was hustling, getting up, and when we got to the locker room, you boom, 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 and then you run to the gym. I run to the locker room, put my shit on, and I walked to the gym like, I'm here, like, you know what I'm saying? It was part of that not being controlled aspect that was kicking in. It wasn't even a lack of not respect or not awareness of the urgency of needing to get there, but it was part of that I was expressing in that moment, okay? Because the truth of the matter was, I walked in on time. The motherfucker tried to teach me a lesson by telling me being on time was late. And in the bigger scheme of things, I understand what he was saying and what he was doing, okay? And I was like, okay, well, do you need to teach that lesson? Maybe you do, maybe you don't. Did I stop anything from going down the way on time in a timely fashion? I didn't. He just wanted to teach me a lesson. But you see, the lesson that I overstood in that was that, yeah, I understand there's going to be times when I'm going to have to conform. But man, conformity without understanding, without a foundation is a lost soul, is like a robot. I was just talking to someone earlier today. They told me that they went on the strength of my word because of how they view me. And when I advised them to buy supplements for their health, and then they waited and checked it out later afterwards. And I told them that was the stupidest thing they could have did. Thank you for giving me that love and that prop. But man, we got to be able to think. And we ain't knowledgeable about shit. We can't make informed decisions. But what we don't know is people out here is making them for us based on the fact of our lack of knowledge.
Let me
So
ask
that's how I got to all of that, was basically through an epiphany, being
personal enlightenment,
and then learning
something else.